I'm Eric Restivo, and let's queer up lesbian and queer women. Emmy-winning queer journalist pepper sprayed while reporting on Minneapolis killing. An Emmy-winning queer journalist says she was shoved and pepper sprayed by federal agents in Minneapolis while reporting on the aftermath of Alex Pretty's death. According to local NBC affiliate Care TV and Queer Tea, reporter Jana Shortle was covering the scene Saturday after Pretty, a 37-year-old U.S. citizen and ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital, was killed by federal agents. Reports say Pretty was shot 10 times after agents had already wrestled him to the ground and disarmed him. Shortle said that she was clearly behind crime scene tape with visible press credentials as tensions rose between federal agents and a crowd of 75 to 100 community members. Shortle said, quote, "They started to just aggressively say, 'Move back,' but nobody knew what was happening. And so an agent, probably twice my size, pushed me pretty hard, and I said, 'Don't push me, I'm press.'"
My name is Jana Shortle, and yes, while trying to document what happened on Saturday, less than an hour after Alex Pretty was shot and killed by federal agents, I was briefly injured. And the First Amendment of these United States, adopted in 1791, says the press has the right to report on government actions and shield us from restraint or punishment from doing so. I was knocked out of that pursuit with 2 shoves by a federal agent, and then a liquid chemical sprayed directly into my left eye. I impeded no law enforcement. I posed no threat. I was clearly marked press with my badge that I was visibly wearing. Any agent could see it and read it. I was behind the line where press and the public could be, but those facts did not matter.
She described the scene as chaotic and terrifying, adding, quote, "Someone has to take control of this situation," end quote. And I could not agree more. It's a scary time in the world to be press. John Hayden, you know it. You report from, confines of office space from your home sometimes. You're on the field, in the field sometimes. How much do you feel that reporters right now are putting themselves at risk to really get us the information that we don't get on the television, on our central news channel?
Incredibly.
Yeah.
The risk has never been greater. I've got one of my very best friends is a news director at one of the television stations in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure he's been home in the last few weeks. I'm pretty sure his husband is bringing him changes of clothes and things like that. Some places are more dangerous than others,
right,
obviously. But it could come here.
Oh, yeah.
Just as quickly. I mean, the Haitian population they're going to start ousting them. And of course, that's a huge group in Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest, and I say this with no tongue in cheek, and I say this in all seriousness, if you're going to be a journalist out there reporting, especially in places where ICE is, and if you're going to be a protester, buy a gas mask, research them, look them up, take them with you. Many people in my profession, for me, it's not really a big thing because we've always, in my career, photographers and reporters take gas masks to presidential conventions, things like that. But it's more important than ever. It's dangerous. And thank you to all my colleagues out there that are doing really frontline, dangerous work. We are here for you and we're ready to pick it up when it comes to us.
When journalists are treated as a threat, it tells you who the power really fears.
Right.
Obviously she struck a chord for somebody, who pepper sprayed her and, did whatever they did. Having a free press is not a luxury. It's a warning system in our country. Yeah. So when you take out a warning system, people are not informed as to what's going on. And that's what they want. They don't want us to know exactly the tactics that they're employing to take people out of their homes, to rip children away from their parents, on school lines, on bus lines, where, you name it, they're taking people away. And it's scary. And, it harkens back to Europe in the 1930s and 40s. It harkens back to, any conflict where people are not given their, due rights. They're just, law-abiding, ways that we do things in this country. It's a scary time. And hopefully We get back to some normalcy soon in the midterms. Hopefully we get back to some normalcy in 28. Keeping my fingers crossed. Only time will tell. But we need to make our voices heard.
This was a small deed little boy of a federal agent who got triggered by a powerful woman in a position of press who pepper sprayed her in the face because he's got anger issues and he's allowed to wear a badge. That is how I look at this.
Absolutely.
So I applaud everyone on the front lines doing the work, but just as a reminder, who run the world? Girls. Okay. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing them to Queer News Tonight.